Alrighty, last two stories here. Let's start talking about the NBA Finals from last night, folks. Game 6, Bucks close out, and Giannis had an absolutely unbelievable game. But before we start breaking down the stats and all that, just look at this picture, folks. Giannis from his rookie year till Giannis to the NBA Finals. It is probably the funniest picture you could ever see. It is the best glow-up you will ever see. Skinny string bean Giannis in 2013, weighing only 196, looking young as heck, folks. I mean, this man looks like he's 14, 15 out here. Doesn't look like a rookie in the league. And then 7, 8 years later in 2021, he ended up putting on like 40 plus pounds. He weighs 242 now and just beefier, just bulkier, toned, defined. This is a grown man right here 8 years later. So shout out to Giannis for whatever he did. That kind of strength and conditioning at the NFL level, a professional athlete, it is no joke, folks. They can transform you from this to this in no time. Could you imagine if you had all that money for sponsors and trainers and all that? Man, oh man. That's the glow up I'm looking for out here. Jeez Louise. So Giannis, I mean, he put in the work in the gym. He put in the work in the weight room, and it all ended up paying off last night, winning a ring, young as heck, trying to start maybe a dynasty here for Milwaukee. We'll see. Can they keep the band together? Can Chris Middleton keep on improving? Because this was the best basketball we've seen him play over like a 6-game stretch, honestly. So we'll see if he can kind of keep it up. Can they get another great piece? Can they get another kind of bench piece, another kind of third option on the floor? Can they keep Drew Holiday? The Bucks might want to run this back, and I don't think Giannis is going anywhere anytime soon because we did hear him kind of take a little bit of a dig at super teams after the finals during the press conference when he was holding the finals trophy and the finals MVP trophy. He was like, I could have went and joined a super team and did my part and won a ring, but I did it the hard way. I did it this way of just sticking it out, and hey, look it, I did it. I fucking did it. And you give Giannis 100% respect. I mean, this Bucks team is not a super team, folks. Can we not even start with that narrative? If you're calling Chris Middleton a superstar, a number 2 superstar, when you're comparing, super teams of LeBron, D-Wade, and Chris Bosh, you're comparing super teams of Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, and Kevin Durant. You're comparing super teams of Kyrie Irving, James Harden, Kevin Durant. Do not even come close with me that Middleton is even a close, solid number 2 in a superstar formed team. We are giving credit to Chris Middleton. That is not what we're saying, but we're not giving him superstar all-star status just like that. We're giving him real solid number 2 in a kind of great team. But when we're talking about super teams, Chris Middleton would be a bench piece. Chris Middleton would be the 8th option on a true superstar team. The man didn't go to the All-Star game, correct? I don't think he got selected to the All-Star game. So can we tone that down a little bit? This Bucks team was nowhere near a super team. They had Giannis, a superstar talent, a super just player in general, a potential, I don't know if I'm going to start making this argument now, but a potential greatest of all time. I think we can start maybe thinking about talking about it. Maybe. But, he won a ring real early on, and you got to give him the credit for that. He did it his way. For Milwaukee, they haven't won a ring in 50 years, and he did it his way, not joining a super team or not recruiting super team players to Milwaukee. So for that, Giannis, I mean, that's going to be a huge legacy, resume, greatest of all time builder just on what he did this year. So you give him a lot of credit. Fantastic. All right, and if we're talking about giving credit away, can we give a little credit away to ourselves, please? Jeez Louise. So we made our official NBA Finals prediction on May 21st before all the playoffs started, before even game 1 of the first round of the playoffs started, and we made our official prediction. We walked through the bracket, and we had Milwaukee winning in 6 over the Utah Jazz. We had the Suns losing against the Jazz in 7 in the Western Conference Finals, so we were real close of getting the actual matchup right, but we ended up getting the winner right, folks. We predicted Bucks over Heat in 6. It didn't even go more than 4. It was a true sweep. We also called Bucks over Nets in 7. Fantastic. We had Philadelphia over Atlanta, unfortunately, for the Eastern Conference Finals, but we still had the Bucks beating, out the Eastern Conference. So we called Bucks to win it. Fantastic. credit. And especially when we look at the professionals, what the professionals said. We still have this picture, folks. I say, y'all didn't think I was going to save this picture from Fox Sports from early May when they had all their Fox Sports radio people pick their winners of the NBA championship? Guess who was like the number one taken? Obviously the easy choice, Brooklyn Nets. We never bought into that. No, sir. We had Clay Travis. We had Joy Taylor. We had Doug Gottlieb. We had RJ Bell. We had Chris Broussard. We had Rob Parker. We had Arnie Spanier. We had Brian No. They all picked the Brooklyn Nets to win the title. Those are big names, folks. These are professional sports commentators out here picking the wrong name. Unfortunate. What was kind of the other big name? The Lakers had a couple. We had Dan Patrick pick the Lakers. What are we talking about? We had Jeff Schwartz. We had Aaron Torres. We had Bernie Fredo. We had Chris Plank all pick the Lakers to win the championship. We never bought into that. When did we have the Lakers losing? We had the Lakers losing in the first round against the Suns. Trash. We never bought into them, folks. All right, then another big one was the Clippers. We had Jonas Knox. We had Jason Smith. We had Ben Miller, all picking the Clippers to win the ring. Now, we disrespected the Clippers a little bit. We said they were losing in the conference finals. Or the semifinals in the Western Conference to the Jazz. They made it to the conference finals, so shout out to them. But, they didn't win the ring. What else do we have here? Somebody chose the Miami Heat. Mike Harmon chose the Miami Heat. What? What is that? What else do we got here? The Jazz. Jason Martin picked the Jazz. He's the only one, so respect to him. But only two people on Fox Sports picked the Bucks. Colin Cowherd and George Weister. So shout out to them and shout out to us. 2, we're going to include ourselves. 3 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Out of 20 paid big platform professionals, 2 got it right, and we also got it right ourselves. Can we give some credit our way, please? Please, folks. We know what we're talking about. I don't say things that I don't know I'm talking about. I talk about what I know I'm talking about, folks, and I know sports. That's why we talk sports every day. I kind of know something. I've been watching it for 20 years of my life, folks. I think I know a little something. And we called the Bucks right. We said it was Giannis's year, and it was Giannis's year. Give us the respect we deserve. Do y'all understand? Take notes. Give us the respect that we deserve, please. Jeez. That's all we're asking for is a little respect. Little respect. Little old us want a little old respect, please. A little bit. So, shout out to us. Shout out to us. We'll leave it at that. Shout out to Takes Five fans. They know what they're talking about. So when we say the Colts are winning the Super Bowl this year, when we say that Justin Fields is going to be the week 1 starter, take that to the bank, folks. We are saying things that are going to happen. Bucks in 6 for the finals. Bucks in 6 for the finals, folks. We're just trying to help y'all out there, all right? That's it. Jeez. Y'all blame us out of, blame and hate us and not respect us when we're just trying to give y'all the information. Give y'all the bets. Give y'all the what is actually going to happen. Because we don't fall for those kind of, mainstream narratives that get thrown around loosey-goosey just to kind of make a story. We don't buy into that. We know what to buy into. We know what to stay away from. We know what's real. We know what's false. We know what's just kind of thrown out there just to make money. We know it's thrown out there just to make the news. Like Adam Schefter yesterday, 2 days ago, saying, hey, Aaron Rodgers, hey, he didn't sign the big contract. Yeah, we know it wasn't about money. We knew that. We knew that for a year. We knew that for 2 years. So people, they got stuff to talk about. And they kind of, Oh, that's another thing to bring up. All we've been hearing is like, oh, we don't want to see the Bucks in the finals because they're a small market. Did you see 65,000 fans out there in Deer Park? outside the stadium, 65,000 strong? Can we get rid of the garbage narrative of small markets? Oh my God, how lame to say. Jeez. So, folks, give us the respect. I don't know what to tell you. All right. Let's move on and talk about the actual game from last night, folks. And once again, we hit our bet. I mean, what a great way to end the season. Of the last two games, we hit right on the head. Bingo, bango. Love it. Love it. So we had the Bucks -5, and they ended up winning by 7. So perfect there. Giannis gets the trophy. Giannis gets the Finals MVP, and we get a little bit of cash in our pockets. You love to see it. All right. So Bucks win 105-98. Once again, the Suns, I mean, they played a solid game overall. Just unfortunately, they didn't have that big go-to score consistently throughout the game. And that was Giannis last night, folks. Milwaukee Bucks. Let's start here with Giannis. Batman. Once again, we are 100%, 1,000,000,000%, 1,bazillion% putting the narrative to bed that Chris Middleton was the Batman for this Bucks team. Yes, he was real solid. But once again, he's back to shooting 46%, while Giannis is going off for a 50-piece. A 50-piece. Yes, Chris Middleton was good. Yes, he was the second leading scorer for the squad last night. But that's Robin, folks. That's Robin. That's always been Robin. It will always be Robin. I'll give Chris Middleton Robin acknowledgement. That's fine. I've got no problem with that. We were a little bit, flirting with Chris Middleton, kind of calling him Catwoman a little bit. But I'll upgrade him up to Robin. Real solid performance right there, and a huge reason why they definitely won the finals. I'm not saying that Chris Middleton had no part of winning the finals. I just thought y'all were kind of overhyping his overall play a little bit. I truly thought it was Giannis just going ham, going monster mode the entire series, and then Drew Holiday playing real great defense, and Pat Connaughton playing real good, solid ball off the bench. And Chris Middleton had some great performances, some real good performances. But it's always the good with the bad. We saw him kind of hit clutch shots and then hit not clutch shots. It was just y'all were giving him a little bit too much credit, but he still deserves credit. I want to make that point across very clearly. I am still giving Chris Middleton a lot of credit. Just nowhere near the gap between Robin credit and Batman credit, which is obviously big old credit there, folks. I mean, nobody, looks up and is like, oh my God, it's Batman. And then just has to kind of take another second look and be like, oh, that's actually Robin. You look up, that's Robin. I can easily tell 100%. It's not even, a thing you would mistake Batman for Robin. So, Chris, let's start here with Giannis because it was so gosh dang good. And he, thankfully, I mean, could you imagine if Giannis did not win Finals MVP? If for some reason the pickers of Finals MVP fell in love with the narrative that, Chris Middleton was Batman, they listened to what Kendrick Perkins had to say and gave Chris Middleton the Finals MVP trophy, I think I would have lost my mind, folks. I think this studio would have been on fire as we were doing the show. But Giannis gets the Finals MVP like he truly, rightfully deserves. That's what you give Batman. You give him the highest recognition award. So Giannis, in a closeout game, dropped 50 points. The first time that's ever happened in a Finals game. So, I mean, what are we talking about here, folks? Obviously, Giannis is the man here. 50 points on 64% shooting. He hit a 3 just to kind of say, fuck y'all, I'm going to hit a 3 this game. I don't think he hit a 3 in Game 4 or 3. But Game 6, closeout game, bingo. Bango, let me hit a 3. Yes, sir. And not only did he stunt on y'all by hitting the 3, he went 17 of 19 from the free throw line. Missed 2 free throws? Oh my God, as he's shooting like sub 60% for his career. And he goes and shoots 89%, only misses 2 free throws in a closeout game to win the finals? That's stunning if I've ever seen it right there, folks. And not only did he have all that, he put up 14 rebounds. Absolutely fantastic. And not only did he do all of that, folks, he had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 big old blocks here throughout the entire game. Absolutely magnificent. Offensive side of the ball, defensive side of the ball, scoring, it doesn't matter. He was getting his all night last night. Suns, once again, had no option to stop Giannis. Absolutely very well done. we had Brook Lopez, who got it done last night. He was coming in and hitting clutch buckets. Absolutely great. Once again, he's not playing that many minutes, 26 minutes last night, and he put up 10 points and 8 rebounds, a +9 on the floor. Absolutely fantastic. Chris Middleton, once again, hit clutch shots, was very solid throughout the entire game. 17 points. He had 4 steals. Once again, great defensive effort. 5 assists and 5 rebounds. He shot, once again, 46%. It's just, once again, it's real solid. It's all right. It's consistently inconsistent. But, it's very, very well done, and it got him a ring, so we give him a lot of credit for that. It was also a +11 on the floor. Once again, very, very well done. Drew Holiday, once again, getting it done on the defensive end of the ball, truly floundered scoring the ball. Once again, Drew Holiday back to shooting 21%, and that's the thing that I have to give Chris Middleton a lot of credit for. He does, like Drew Holiday, he'll have like a 60% shooting game and a 20 and a 60 and a 20 and like a 50 and a 30 and then maybe a 40 here and there. But Chris Middleton is always kind of consistent about shooting 45+%. We don't really kind of get the 60% game in big time clutch situations for Chris Middleton, but he's always hovering solid about 46 to 50%, and for that we can thank him for never having a bad, kind of Drew Holiday 21% shooting game. Real not great from Drew Holiday last night, but the defensive effort and also just facilitating the floor at the point guard position, that's where Drew Holiday gets all his credit for. So Drew Holiday, 12 points and 11 assists. He also had 9 rebounds, very close to a triple-double for the man, which would have been great. He had 4 steals as well. Once again, the defensive side of the ball and facilitating the floor. That's what Drew Holiday was great at. But he did shoot 21% on 19 shots. Could have been inexcusable if they lost, but they won, so we give him credit for it. 12. He was a +12 also on the floor. Once again, real solid for shooting 21%. Geez. All right, let's PJ Tucker. Let's round out the starters here. PJ Tucker, once again, he only took 1 shot, was a 3. He missed it, 0 points. But just his defensive presence, a +13 on the floor in 36 minutes. He was the highest +- for the Bucks last night. So you give him credit, and we know he doesn't score the ball. That's not his game. He locks it up on defense, and that's exactly what he did last night. So in a huge closeout game, PJ Tucker steps up defensively. All right, and then the bench. Pat Connaughton truly let us down last night. What the hell was that man doing? He's been great for every single game of the finals that he's played, but last night he came up real big time small, and luckily Giannis said, hey, no worries. Batman is here to save the day. Catwoman, get on my back. Robin, get on my back. Nightwing, get on my back. And I'm carrying y'all to the finals. I'm carrying y'all to the promised land because that's what Batman does. Robin, Catwoman, Nightwing, all trying to take down the Joker and Harley Quinn, and they're getting their ass kicked. Maybe they take out one henchman, but you bring in the Batman to get the job done, to save the day. That's why it's called the Bat Signal. Nobody's signaling for Catwoman. Nobody's signaling for Robin. You only signal for Robin when you can't get through to Batman, and Batman is always there showing up, and Giannis is the Batman, folks. That discussion is 100% put to bed. I don't want to hear anything close to that ever again. You understand us? You understand us? If I ever hear that Giannis is not the Batman on any team, I don't care what team it is. If you ever say that Giannis is not the Batman, I don't like to ever say this phrase, but I have to say this. Your sports opinion doesn't matter. If you ever say those words, your sports opinion card has to get taken right from you. I don't like saying that, but I have to say that here, folks. So Pat Connaughton, back to Pat Connaughton here. Really, really bad performance. He was a -21. A -21 on the floor. The worst by a mile. Nobody even on the Suns in a losing game was close to a -21. So when you have a 7-point win and you go -21 on the floor, real big, not great. So Pat Connaughton, he played 22 minutes. Usually we've been seeing him play like 30 plus minutes. But the way that PJ Tucker was playing and the way that Brook Lopez was playing, Pat Connaughton, there was no need for him to play that much minutes. So Mike Budenholzer, I think, deserves credit, folks. He knew when to ride the hot hand, playing Pat Connaughton 30 plus minutes in game number 5. I also think he played 30-plus minutes in game number 4 as well. So we give him a lot of credit, Mike Budenholzer, for just riding the right hand, bailing on Pat Connaughton when he needed to, rocking with Brook Lopez when he needed to, rocking with P.J. Tucker when he needed to. And for that, I think we give Mike Budenholzer a lot more credit than he truly is getting. Nobody's giving him really any credit for what he did, but once again, come down from 0-2 to kind of change up the rotations a little bit, to give Pat Connaughton a lot more minutes, to play Bobby Portis a lot of minutes here when Bobby Portis was absolutely going crazy off the bench. 16 points in 22 minutes. He shot 60% and 2 of 5 from the 3, and he also was a +6 on the floor. I mean, Bobby Portis was hitting clutch buckets, was kind of getting being a little bit of a fool out there on the floor. He ended up getting a technical, I believe. Unfortunate, but that's kind of the energy and presence you need in a closeout game to drain all the energy away from the Suns, to drain all the motivation away from the Suns. And Bobby Portis did that absolutely fantastic. He kind of got into it a little bit with Chris Paul, and then once again, the technical foul a little bit later in the game. Once again, just kind of drawing the foul, and then he kind of went berserk. He kind of, he kind of did like the can down the sideline. And then he got teed up for it, unfortunate. But that presence was still needed, that kind of antagonizer, I should say. It needs to be somewhere on the team, whether it's the bench doing it or whether it's not one of your superstar players doing it so they don't get thrown out of the game or anything like that. That's the role that Bobby Portis played, and he played it to perfection last night. So you give Bobby Portis a lot of credit last night. Didn't play a lot of really quality minutes at all in this final series, but finals closeout game at home, he steps up big time with a 16-point production, and you give him credit. So Bobby Portis, very well done. Pat Connaughton, a real kind of meh game. Real bad game, actually. Real bad game for Pat Connaughton. So that was the Bucks last night. Absolutely very well done. And here we go. The Suns now. Alrighty. Now, nothing really great from this team. Devin Booker didn't have like a 40-point game. That's what we really needed from Devin Booker. Chris Paul scored 26 points, which was real solid. He was a little bit more aggressive with kind of shooting the ball, and that's what the Suns team really needs. They need Chris Paul to really command the floor, but Chris Paul's thinking on this team, obviously we've seen it all regular season, only averaging 15 points and 8 assists, which is good with the assists, but Chris Paul was like, I'm just going to be the facilitator here and let y'all play. I'm going to let y'all play because y'all are good. Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton down low, Mikal Bridges, y'all can shoot and y'all can get it done. Y'all don't need me. I can just be the floor facilitator. But that's not what he needed to do in the finals when nobody could really score. DeAndre Ayton was getting blasted defensively, offensively. He couldn't really do anything. Devin Booker wasn't really having consistent, great performances. Yeah, he dropped a couple of 40 games. Yes, he had a real great game in the Clipper series. I believe he had a real great game in the Lakers series. But it wasn't anything consistent that really kind of got the job done. And in a closeout game, a must-win game, this performance is a little lackluster, especially when you're getting comparisons to Kobe the entire final series. He never lived up to those kind of comparisons and those mentions that he is Kobe Bryant. So real kind of lackluster game from Devin Booker, but let's stick with Chris Paul. Let's finish him up real quickly. 26 points. He had 5 assists as well. And he had 2 rebounds, 1 of 2 from the 3, and 57% on 19 shots. Once again, real solid there. Not bad. It's just unfortunate that Chris Paul wasn't a little bit more aggressive throughout this series. And once again, the Suns played real great in Game 5, just unfortunately lost real close. They played real solid in Game 4 as well. Once again, just lost. It's just we needed Chris Paul to be a little bit more aggressive. We needed Devin Booker to be a little bit more aggressive and a little bit more consistent here in Game number 6. And Devin Booker couldn't really get it done. So Chris Paul, overall, a solid game. He was a -8 in a 7-point loss. Devin Booker, only 19 points. I mean, when we're talking about A1 tier 1s on a team, you got to do what Giannis did. 50 points. Closeout game. This was a must-win game. You need your superstars to go and do superstar things. And Devin Booker didn't really do that. And Chris Paul, aging superstar, this wasn't his role the entire year. So, he was like, hey, I'm doing pretty good, but we also needed Chris Paul to give like 40, not just 26, because Devin Booker couldn't score and DeAndre Ayton couldn't score down low either. So we needed Chris Paul to step up, the superstar to step up, and he just didn't do enough. And it had to be way more than enough because Giannis was doing everything. Defense, offense, hitting the free throws, putting 50 points up, having 5 blocks. It was just fantastic. And Chris Paul and Devin Booker just couldn't live up to their expectations of what the Suns needed from their number one option out there, their number one superstar on the team. Devin Booker, 19 points on 36% shooting, 0 of 7 from 3. Jeez Louise. Even in that 40-point game, it all came from the mid-range. We saw he was 0 for 3 at the three-point line. So Devin Booker coming real small up here in the three-point line when he definitely needed to kind of start cashing in some threes to try to make the game a little bit closer. The Suns only hit 6 threes last night. So did the Bucks, but I mean, we're talking about a 7-point game. That's still a close game. The Suns were still in it late in the game, and 3-pointers really could have been the difference here for the Suns. But Devin Booker just could not cash out. Same thing with Jay Crowder. He had a really bad 3-point night, but he did have a solid night overall. So Devin Booker, a minus 15 on the floor, really, really not great. DeAndre Ayton, he had 12 points and 6 rebounds, but he shot 33%. I mean, this man just could not score down low. Now, a lot of people were blaming DeAndre Ayton, but I think we have to kind of dial back on that kind of blaming of DeAndre Ayton just a little bit, just because Chris Paul driving to the bucket and trying to dump it off to DeAndre Ayton when he was truly covered. It should have been just kind of a floater or a mid-range pull-up by Chris Paul, but he was trying to force it to DeAndre Ayton. So DeAndre Ayton was getting a lot of bad looks. A lot of turnovers were forced on DeAndre Ayton because people are trying to force him the ball down low. These were shots that Chris Paul and Devin Booker should have been taking instead of just dropping it off. They were driving into the paint, but DeAndre Ayton was kind of getting double teamed in no real great position to get the ball, and that's where we needed to see Devin Booker and Chris Paul really just kind of start pulling up in mid-range jumpers while driving and not trying to force DeAndre Ayton the ball time and time again throughout the game, because we knew he wasn't getting it done, this series. So that's why we wanted to see Devin Booker and Chris Paul just be a little bit more aggressive in scoring the ball, but they kind of dropped the ball last night. DeAndre Ayton also a minus 7 last night. Then we come to Jay Crowder, and once again, he didn't shoot well from the 3, but he was a great defender. He put up 15 points and 13 rebounds with 4 steals, and he was a +4 in the 40 minutes he was out on the floor. So he hit 2 of 9 from 3, which was really not great, and 36% overall from the field on 11 shots. But the points, 15 points, that's exactly what we need him to score as kind of the 4th option out here. The 13 rebounds was absolutely fantastic, and just the overall defense that he played, forcing turnovers. He had a block and 4 steals, and being a +4 in a 7-point loss while also playing 40 minutes is absolutely fantastic by Jay Crowder. Unfortunately, nobody else could step up big time on his team. And then we go to Mikal Bridges, who once again just was never great this series. Never took a lot of shots, never great defensively. We see he was a minus 18 out on the floor in only 39 minutes. Real not great. And he only put up 7 points on 7 shots. Once again, we don't see Mikal Bridges putting up that many points or that many shots. And he kind of acts like the 5th scoring option here on this team when he realistically could be the 2nd or 3rd. If you put him at number 2, it's Devin Booker 1, Mikal Bridges 2. If you put him at 3, you put Devin Booker, Chris Paul, Mikal Bridges, or Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, Mikal Bridges. But Mikal Bridges truly needed to make his presence known at the 3. I mean, he's playing the 3, folks. It's not like he's playing the 4. He's playing the 3, and it's still a little timid to shoot the ball at a high kind of velocity clip. Let's start getting 15 plus shots up a game. But he's really kind of, hovering only around 7 or 5, something like that. So Mikal Bridges is truly hurting this team by not being a scoring presence out there, and allowing the Bucks defense just to once again collapse because they're all driving. Chris Paul's driving, Devin Booker's driving, DeAndre Ayton's down low, and nobody's kind of being that 3-point scoring threat. Everybody's just crashing. So Mikal Bridges doing his team a little bit of a disservice, not shooting up the 3 and not taking a lot more kind of outside jumpers. Is a little unfortunate. So a minus 18 from Mikal Bridges. He had 2 assists, 2 steals, 6 rebounds, and only 7 points. And then off the bench, do we have anything great? Cameron Johnson, only 3 points on 5 shots, shot real abysmal. 1 of 4 from the 3 in only 16 minutes. Frank Kaminsky got into 10 minutes, and that's something I wanted to see Monty Williams do a little bit more. I mean, we saw Frank Kaminsky play 4 minutes, the game that Dario Saric got injured, game like 1 or 2, and then we didn't see him for games 3, 4, 5, and then he comes up in game 6 and has a pretty solid game, 6 points in 10 minutes, he had 2 rebounds, he was a +0 on the floor, but he was making some good reads, some good plays, some good kind of passes, and some solid just kind of decent defense down low. So I thought, not playing Frank Kaminsky really hurt this Suns team overall, especially with DeAndre Ayton truly not being the kind of great player that he was in the Western Conference Finals in game kind of like 1 of this series. So I'm a little upset that Monty Williams didn't go down to the bench a little bit more with Frank Kaminsky. And then we had Cameron Payne, who once again got real solid minutes out there. 10 minutes, but made the most of it. 10 points on 6 shots, 2 rebounds, and he was also a +9 on the floor. That's what we love by Cameron Payne. I know it's only 10 minutes and a +9. It's fantastic, but we wanted to see Cameron Payne get a lot more minutes out here. And they were running a rotation of Chris Paul and Cameron Payne on the floor while Devin Booker was out on rest, and it worked pretty solid during that span. So once again, Monty Williams not playing truly around with the rotations at all kind of throughout the entire playoffs, and that's what we want to see a little bit more. Yes, I know it's the finals. Yes, I know we kind of want your all-star players out there, but at some point, if they're not getting it done, you do have to play with the rotations a little bit. And I think Cameron Payne, if he was out there for a little bit more with him and Chris Paul, they could have probably done a little bit, maybe stolen a couple of games that they lost here down the stretch. They won the first 2, lost the last 4. Really not great. Reverse sweep by the Bucks. You give them credit for that. But, I just think, trying to force Devin Booker a little bit too much out there. And I understand he's their number 1 guy out there. But he wasn't really playing like their number 1 guy the entire series. And he did have a good overall series. It's just unfortunate when a team loses some games close and you're just trying to figure out what they could have done. In hindsight, obviously, I get all that, folks, but I do wish Cameron Payne played a little bit of a stronger role throughout the playoffs and especially in this finals series. Maybe even put him at the 3, put Cameron Payne at the 3, or put Devin Booker at the 3. Get Mikal Bridges out of the starting lineup. I mean, I think he was truly hurting this team. He wasn't doing anything special. I guess that's really the biggest fault of the Suns team was Mikal Bridges out there the majority of the time when he wasn't giving us that great production. Maybe start Cam Johnson a game. Start Cameron Payne a game. You got to try and do something, especially when you just dropped 2 straight, going back to home. When you just dropped 3 straight, you got to try and do something else. And I know it's kind of a catch-22. Why experiment or why try something else when, this is a do or die game and we really just have to win now and really have no time for kind of, situations and different rotations and experiments. And I get that, but then we get, lackluster performance offensively by your main superstars. I think at some point you got to just live and die by the experimentation and not live and die what you've constantly been dying by. So I guess that's probably the only knock I have on the Suns team overall is that Mikal Bridges played a little bit too much. Get Cameron Johnson out there in the starting lineup at the 3, or like we said, even move him to the 2. Move Devin Booker over to the 3 and have, Cameron Johnson and Cameron Payne play the 2 for one game. See how that works. But Mikal Bridges, he wasn't a force scoring the ball. He wasn't a force defensively. He was just kind of out there, and nobody was respecting his shot. And like we said, the Bucks were just always collapsing defensively as Chris Paul is driving, as Devin Booker is driving, as DeAndre Ayton is trying to force his will down low. And then you just have Jay Crowder, the only decent 3-point shooter on this team. Nobody's going to respect that, and they're all, once again, just going to keep collapsing. So, Mikal Bridges, I think I put a lot of the blame on Mikal Bridges and Monty Williams for not figuring out Mikal Bridges is a little bit of an issue out there if we have to find something wrong with it. So, that was the NBA Finals, folks. Congratulations to the Bucks. An absolutely deserved win out here. We called it right. Credit to us. We love it. So we'll see what happens next NBA season. We'll see if the Bucks can go back-to-back. We'll see if a healthy superstar Nets team with James Harden and Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant not, freaking exhausted, dog-tired after playing 48 minutes. We'll see if they can kind of challenge the Bucks because, once again, that series went 7 with all those injuries. We'll see if, we get that series, a full healthy Nets-Bucks series next year, to really see, do we have to take a little credit off of this Bucks championship? I don't like ever taking credit away from a championship, but it will be a discussion that we may have to have come next season. So congratulations to the Bucks. Congratulations to Giannis. A great season, a great series for small markets. Trash narrative. I hate that. So very well done to the Bucks on the NBA Finals.